The purpose of asset management data and information strategy, as the name suggests, is first and foremost defining what data and information are actually needed to support asset management decisions. We need to ensure that data is accurate, consistent, and fit for purpose. We need to align both the asset information with an organization's digital and data strategies, and that in today's world will often incorporate both information technology and operational technology, especially in the world of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and threats from cyber. Planning the future needs, again, digital twins, AI, predictive analytics, etc. All these things become more available to organizations as we move into this new technological world. But we also need to think about how we embed governance for both data quality, security, and responsible use. And as we'll see, this also links into the module on configuration management. Having an organization and individuals understand the importance of data quality is really important, and it starts with basic awareness. The risk really is that staff assume that all data is reliable without questioning its quality, its completeness, and its relevance to the task at hand. So we need to train teams on data quality, some of the principles, and show how poor data can affect decisions. If you just look at the suite of ISO 8000 series, it talks about data quality in the context of an enterprise, and that can also be a good way to start in terms of that awareness journey. There is a difference between owning data and controlling data, but ownership and accountability of data is super important, and that's everything from the transaction which captures the data right through to the lifecycle management. So the risk here again, if no one's responsible for data, you can end up with gaps, duplication. And if you get with duplication, then you end up questioning what is the correct source of truth underpinning this decision. So defining different data steward roles and embedding them into job descriptions. Because again, they're only responsible from a stewardship point of view for data. They're not the IT or the individuals controlling it. And sometimes that can be confusion, but yet ownership and accountability of data ultimately informs future quantitative decisions. When we roll out a new information system, asset information system, it always comes with a degree of fear, trepidation, and change resistance can be at the forefront. It might also be you needing to transact into a customer's EAM system, and for that matter, change resistance becomes around fear, visibility, around capability, etc. So we need to face the reality and the risk that staff resist adopting new data tools or digital platforms, whatever they may be. But if we can provide hands-on training, go out to the business and find those real change champions, but also communicating the benefits clearly. In all my life, and I've been in IT, I've been in asset management, there is no one perfect system. But if an organization embraces the functionality of an asset information system to support its business and it's clear and those boundaries are clear, you can get a lot of value from it and remove a lot of risk. Integration is the sum of all parts working as a whole. And the risk here is that data is locked in silos, and that may be down to an individual spreadsheet, or it could just be the functions of the business actually restricting visibility and accessibility to data, which then limits its usefulness. We need to be able to promote that cross-functional data through governance groups, drive integration, and even if it's an interface versus an integration, across the different systems, we need to involve information technology department, but also to those across the asset lifecycle in which the information is supporting their decisions. We need to face the reality that the world is changing at a rapid pace, especially in terms of artificial intelligence. But we need to understand and respect the fact that the workforce may lack a degree of digital literacy. And that doesn't mean the ability to turn on an iPhone or a Galaxy phone or a PC, etc. Digital literacy really means I understand the data, the information, and knowledge, and the analytics that supports decisions. So we need to build in some of those digital skills, training, awareness, mentoring, but also centered around role-based learning pathways. There are a lot of resources out there on the internet to do this, but future skills and capability should factor into your asset management strategy. There's a real risk in every organization, more so today around cybersecurity. We also have to face the reality of data misuse, which can create fear, reluctance. One such risk is people misusing information by maybe taking what they believe is theirs from the corporate system and using that information or data inappropriately. We need to be able to communicate security measures. What are some of the ethical standards in relation to data and information, but build trust in responsible data use. My suggestion would be to look at ISO 27001 and look at the statement of applicability, because it outlines some great organizational controls and technical controls that your organization can embark on without the need for the full extent of ISO 27001. In alignment with ISO 55001, Section 7.5 documented information is an obvious correlation. The next one, 7.6, data and information, that in its own right became its own section in the 2024 version of the standard, as did Section 7.7, knowledge. And then, of course, Section 9.1, monitoring, measurement, analysis, and evaluation, because you need to make sure and test that the data and information that you're collecting and managing is providing value to the organization by way of decision making. So in summary, an asset management data and information strategy ensures the right data is collected, trusted, and used to make better asset decisions now and into the future. And as I touched on in this whole section 5 of the landscape, consider even creating an asset management plan around information, because then that can actually drive informed decision making where it's needed, but also guide information technology and operational technology in terms of its strategy or their strategy respectively.